Traders, welcome back to another Relentless recap. As you're tuning in, be sure to hit that thumbs up, and if you're a new viewer, consider subscribing to the channel. Guys, today we're going to be talking about an absolute monster of a stock in RENT. This thing did about 150+% today. I mean, just absolutely incredible move, absolutely insane momentum. We're going to talk about some of the areas of opportunities. We're going to talk about what I did well, what I can do better. And ultimately, we're going to talk about why mindset is so important when day trading, because a lot of what dictates the day sometimes is your intensity. All right. And so let's get into it. As usual, guys, remember that day trading is risky business. A lot of traders are having a hard time. So if you're new, even if you've been around and you're not quite where you need to be, guys, take it slow. Utilize the simulators, utilize a small amount of cash. All right. Other than that, remember the live streams and recaps are never a reason to try and copy trade. It takes months, more commonly years, to become consistent. Lastly, I do not invest for my subscribers, so be careful with fake accounts and imposters out there. I will never message you first. I will never talk about copy trading, mirror trading. I will never entertain any conversations like that. And I will never share with you a screenshot of options trading. All right, guys, so be careful. Stay safe. A lot of fake accounts. With that being said, let's jump into it. So, stock RENT. I think this one had a very funny name. Rent the Runway Inc. Rent the Runway Inc. I mean, just what a name, right? You would have expected this thing to be something different in the name. But so, for context, coming into pre-market, after hours yesterday, how did we look, right? It seemed like this thing had a bit of a move at noon yesterday. Gained some volume, popped up, from about 5 up there to 824. After hour pushed up all the way to 1396, really doing its thing. Not bad at all. Coming into the open today, and I saw this thing pre-market, but I'm like, the volume here is non-existent. That's exactly what I told myself. This does not make sense to put on the watch list. It was up versus yesterday's close, so there was a gap, right? In fact, we can do the measurements here. Let's hold on, let's zoom out a little bit. We can do the measurements, right? So this thing had a gap, let's see, versus pre-market, well, about 38%. Wasn't on top of the list, but I did see it. But I'm like, man, look at this thing. Volume is almost dead. Nothing is gonna happen here. Little did I know, this thing was the one. And I started off the day watching completely different stocks. Was locked into them, was not paying attention to my scan. So I missed the first 15 minutes almost of action. I didn't really get here until about 9:45, 9:44, after we were consolidating on this area. And we already had a halt going up and everything, right? So RENT, started off low of 987, pushed up to 1088. I mean, just talk about setting the tone and getting aggressive early, right? Up to 1129. It dips down to 1025, rips all the way back to highs, and then pushing to 12 before giving us a bit of a longer pullback here, bouncing off the VWAP nicely, and then surging up. Sometimes, I mean, it's one of those things, man. You gotta be able to position yourself in the right place, and it's why scanners are important. And some scanners, they do make a chime, and Mobile Pro does, especially when a stock gets halted. But for me, when something else is moving, I'm so locked in it that it doesn't matter what kind of chaos is going on most of the times, or if something else is moving, I'm locked in, and so I can end up missing opportunities as a result. And so it's a bit of a good thing and a bad thing, because when I am locked in and a stock is doing well, I can really capitalize quickly. But other times like this, you end up missing an opportunity. So this first area here, I was nowhere to be found. This gray area. In fact, we can put on the show trades to see exactly where I came in. I believe it was this first area. Okay, I had one trade over here, and then kind of gauge the price action. So again, right around 949. So the first 15 minutes, beautiful move, opening surge, halted up, dip, rip, pull back, aggressive move up. Man, sometimes this sets the tone. This sets the tone. So again, being in the right place, trading the right stock is a very big key component of being able to have a successful day. So moving on, So we had a range low of 12.50, high was at 13.50. So we had $1 a share range here, and this thing ended up curling up. We had a bit of a wedge, bit of a flat top, and you can see a bit of a false breakout here initially, which did catch me off guard a little bit. So I wasn't able to fully capitalize, but we did end up getting the move, and that's really what's important, right? Is if we can get the breakout, because we know we can give ourselves a chance, right? So at 9.50, let's see if we were able to capture any of that candle at 9.50. Let's see. So I'm in at 86, out at 13, in at 13.01, out at 14.01, and this was 2,500 shares when I sized up a little bit. Abruptly followed by another loss, and right here I thought I'd gotten filled above the ask price, which I was not sure of. We can confirm that here in this recap. In fact, let's go look at that trade right now. Let's just go see if that was actually the case, right? At 12.50, we can pull this over here. At 12.50, rather 9.50, 9.50. Let's skip ahead. Perhaps we need to go back. So it came later. I think it came later. Hold up. Let me double check. Maybe I'm going insane. RENT 950 and 16 seconds in a 1381. So it's gonna push up. Okay, yeah, it's gonna push up. So it's gonna push up. And here's the thing, right? Ideally, I already want to be in the stock. But the way how it was moving, I did try at the lows a couple times. Couldn't. Actually, no, I don't think I did at this point. I was still trying to get my bearings. I think I missed the entry at the lows. And right here, I'm looking for the breakout trade. And I'm going to, not get the follow through. So we pushed all the way up there, about 14.08, whatever that was. And I'm going to try to get back in. And I believe the big spread is what's going to get me. Yep. Let's wait. It's going to happen right. I think the spreads might have still been big. 7 by 30. Yep, I'm going to get caught here. Yes, I will. 15 by 22. But we had 30 right there. You can say the moment I was buying. So that was a fair fill. This is going to be a losing trade as we don't continue. You can see some green came in there at 30, but it doesn't continue higher. We're going to give this right back, stopping out right here in the spread. Yep, I'm going to stop out in the spread. And that's going to come. So that was a fair fill. That was a pretty fair fill. Guys, ultimately, I want to be in this thing already. I want to be in here lower, selling higher. And, if I miss the dip, it's sometimes part of the deal. Let me go back. Oh, yeah, I mean, if I miss the dip, it's part of the deal, right? You got to try and get it where you can. From there, we halted. And I didn't do a great job on the resumption. Fell asleep at the wheel. And this is where I really, really fell behind. Because I already should have capitalized on the way up here. And I didn't, right? For me to really dominate the sequence, I need to be in here, selling here, back in again, selling higher, right? That's what it needs to be instead of the nonsense. We get halted, small dip, it rips, pulls back, it rips. We were not as engaged as we should have been. This ended up being a decent zone here, and then pushed up nicely over this bit of a flat top. We had a new high, but not by a ton, because then it pulled back and then it went. But from here was where we got the elongated pullback and then more of a consolidation, right? But still had lows around 1520. 1528, 1532, 1527. And you can see it bounced it up a couple of times off that level. And then, made its way higher. Bit of an ABCD into a bit of an uptrend / even if you want to call this a bit of a wedge / flat top, and then it took off. Then it really took off here, guys. This was 10K plus potential for me. This was poor trading on my behalf, lack of focus early, not positioning myself properly to be able to be aggressive. Because if I'm aggressive, let's say if I'm locked in the right areas and I'm doing well, then I can gain the privilege of to be aggressive. But if I'm not connecting on trades, I'm missing key dips, it's not gonna worth sizing up, you know. Over here, we would have loved to see the red to green continue over this key level here of the bear flag, but that was not the case. We got up there, we did get candles to close above the level, but it still sold off, and this happened to be the beginning of the end. Backside. Back of the side. I mean, just a great stock altogether. Great stock. I mean, we should have done better in some areas. So this was a false breakout. Let's go back. This was a false breakout. We got up to 1360. And 47 was the high, so it was tricky, right? It dips down to 78. I'm not aggressive down there at 80, 90 area. It dips down to 57. And this is where putting out those limit orders would have done me justice here, right? So let's look at this. Right idea. Look at the spread here. Right idea. 57 by 96. Just gotta put out that bid. Gotta put out that limit order and just sit tight, wait patiently for that drop. And you know, I try to buy, but the spread's already bounced. The bid's already bounced, rather. The spread's tighten up, and more than likely I'm gonna get filled closer to the ask, if not the ask price. Right? So 86 is just, you know, it's not gonna be great for me here. Can I hold this? Yes, but you know, my risk will be down there at like 50. Versus if I'm taking a limit order closer to that area, I can feel a little bit better about giving it more time. So ultimately, I'm like, you know what? Let's get out. Let's wait. And sometimes you might wait, and it might not give you. It might not come back down, right? In fact, let's not skip. If you wait right here, it's not gonna come down. So if I'm in closer to the low, I can be more comfortable. If not, before you know it, you're selling at like 14 or say like 13, when you could have been holding, selling into this move here. It literally comes down to where I can get that fill. And I mean, this is $1 a share. This is $1,000 trade, literally, if I'm in the right area. Or maybe I could see myself selling half at 50, selling the other half at like 85, which maybe I don't make the full $1 a share, but you know. But instead, I have to try and scout the high here. This is not a bad trade, but I should have already gotten the first trade of the sequence, which in this case happened to start with a dip. You know, missing all those trades, it's like, it's not good for me. I need to capitalize early so that I can dominate later into the game, right? If I mess up early, have no cushion, have the confidence in myself is always there, but the confidence in the stock in terms of being in rhythm, if it's not there, I don't want to be too aggressive to expose myself, you know. So you got to be careful, and you got to ultimately continue to, you know, look for the best areas where that, you know, risk is lower, right? But yeah, grateful to still make 1200 even on the not so great trading. So we just got to keep improving, and tomorrow we got to be a little bit more intense. You know, this freaking halt, man, like, man, where did that halt come? Right here. Right here, I fumbled the bag. Major. Hold up. Well, let's just let it play. Fumbled the bag big time here, man. We're halted at 1476. When this resumes, it's like I wasn't even watching level 2. And if I was, I would have been able to be in. Like, I don't know what happened. It's like there was 5 seconds to resumption, and I'm watching, and I don't know, man. I don't even know what happened. Like, it felt like those 5 seconds was 1 second. I quite wasn't ready, and I got caught sleeping here. I would have been in. I would have been aggressive here for break of 15, just because, like, let's just see what this does, you know. I mean, it was quick though. You gotta admit, once that volume hit, I mean, that was quick. That was quick. You gotta admit that was quick. Brother. It lingers around 18 by 30. And then it pushes up more, 40, 79, 89. I just was not as intense as I needed to be. It dips to 40 area, 36 area. I'm just not as intense as I need to be. That was the biggest thing. So, at the beginning we mentioned we're going to talk a little about intensity. Like, we don't ever want to fight fire with fire, but can we bring the water to extinguish some flames, right? Can't talk here today. If we can put out these flames, then we can give ourselves a chance. We can thrive, But from the moment the fire is too hot and you can't handle the heat, you got to ease off. And that's what happened to me today. It's not, is it 3 red days in a row? I don't think so. It's not 3 red days in a row. It's more so not capitalizing early, not being in the right stock early. All those things play a role. I mean, maybe you can even say the 3 red days just a little bit, but primarily not being in the right place. And then coming and not capitalizing early, just, it puts me a little behind. And then it starts to feel like, I don't want to say pressure. It's not necessarily pressure or anything, but I know that there's a time clock and that the opportunities are eventually going to come to an end. Like right there could have been backside. And the more the stock goes, the riskier it gets because, bigger spreads, all this good stuff. And I'm not where I need to be. And it's like, hey, this is the time. But then I missed some of the key entries there or the resumption. It's like, are you kidding me? So that's how it kind of went, a bit of a fumble. But, a fumble ending up in $1,200 is not bad. It's definitely a step up from a few years ago where I would have been red on a stock like this. But we need a fumble to be 10K. And I mean, I'm still going to be complaining then. If the fumble will be 10K and the good day should have been 50K. But hey, progress. Step in the right direction. We will prevail. We will be ready tomorrow. Hopefully there's a good stock. If not, we'll still be reactive and disciplined and patient. But hopefully there's something good and it can give us a chance. Do I need to go as far as to say redemption? Maybe not, but I'll say it anyways. I need to come in tomorrow and lock in. All right. So that's the message today, guys. Stay locked in. The moment you show up to trade, you got to be ready for battle. You got to be ready for anything. Stay reactive, stay reactive, stay reactive. Even when you're facing some adversity, stay calm, cool, collected, stay reactive. Keep executing. And hopefully you can still end with a green day. Best case scenario, you lock in on everything and you get a massive day. Right? Shout out to Marcelo. Shout out to Tim. Shout out to Big Steve. I know those guys locked in today, man. And that's what I like to see. It's pretty motivating, pretty encouraging. Pastor will be back tomorrow, brother. Bright and early. Always. All right. Stay safe, stay green. It's been your favorite YouTuber, Relentless Trader. And I'm logging out. Time to go to the gym.